The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Big Yak Podcast. It is I, Mike Pareto, a.k.a. Mike Rappaport, along with Nico.
Does that make me Nico Schefter?
You're Nico Schefter, yes. Yes, alongside me is Nico Schefter, and here we are. We have a big show today. Got to cover the free agency frenzy that is ravaging the NFL, giving people some good assets, and a lot of people are losing some assets. So how you feeling up to Wednesday at 7:39 p.m.?
You know, I feel like in recent years, the NFL free agency period has gotten much more exciting, especially compared to, like, when you look at the NBA. I'd really say the NBA is the biggest comparison with free agency, maybe the MLB too. The NFL has really stepped up in terms of, like, off-season frenzy. Yep. So this is fun. I love this time of year. This is my second favorite week outside of the draft of the off-season. So I'm ready to dive right into it.
Yeah. So Monday was the start at noon, the tampering period. And so here we are a couple days later. A lot's happened. Let's talk about it for sure.
Where do you want to start?
What do you want? I mean, first things first. Obviously I think Derek Carr to the Saints, 3 years, $150 million potentially.
I think that's that sounds right about where we left off.
Yeah.
From last week.
Other than that, that's more of one of the older headlines. We had Mike McGlinchey, San Francisco to Denver, big pickup there for Denver. Javon Hargrave from Philly to Niners. Jawan Taylor, Jacksonville to KC. Jimmy Garoppolo, 49ers to Vegas. Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills to the Bears. Jesse Bates, Cincinnati to Atlanta. Dalvin Tomlinson, Minnesota to Cleveland. Just want to say, Jalen Ramsey traded from the Rams to the Dolphins. Big trade right there. Dalvin Tomlinson to the Cleveland Browns from Minnesota. Jamel Dean re-signed in Tampa. A couple other guys. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been finalized yet, but he has said he is planning on playing for the New York Jets on the Pat McAfee show.
What is going on with that? Did you watch any piece of the Pat McAfee show?
I watched a couple clips of it, and basically they're just waiting on the compensation to get right. Last day or two we've heard that he wants to bring some of the guys from Green Bay to the Jets, which I don't really agree with. I mean, I understand Allen Lazard. I think Allen Lazard is a guy you could have on the team, and he'd be a good asset, but like Randall Cobb.
So Aaron Rodgers on the show, I saw this piece of it. He said, like, he practically was like, "That's ridiculous. Why do you think that I would try to make a list of people to come with me?"
It sounds like something he would do.
That's what Molly said. I was like, we were watching the video, and he was like, now would I go over there and create some sort of laundry list?
Yes.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah, probably. But
yeah, I'm not surprised.
But he said he refutes those claims. He refutes them. He was like, basically, he said, if you were to ask anyone about Allen Lazard, anyone would tell you that he's a great player. He's a great locker room guy. Like, he was like real diplomatic on the interview. I'm sure there's a lot that he can't talk about right now.
It's too coincidental for Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Mercedes Lewis
all
to just
in there.
happen to all pass catchers for Aaron Rodgers over the years, just to miraculously, we're all just gonna go to the Jets.
Hey, Jake Kummer was a free agent. Why don't we pick him up too?
Bro, Jake, he would once they figure some stuff out, Jake Kummer was probably gonna be one of those later kind of towards like camp signings, and then he's gonna find a way on the field.
History is a flat circle.
Yeah, but once these contracts get finalized, I do want to see an Elijah Moore trade. I just think his time with the Jets is done and over with.
Maybe Elijah Moore is involved in that trade.
Could be.
I could say that there's a need for receiver for Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
There's Christian Watson, who's had a stellar second half of his rookie year. Romeo Doubs, up and coming. But then there's like Samaje Tor, which is another rookie. And then beyond that, there's not really much.
No.
So if you take a guy like Elijah Moore, I think he could be involved in that trade package. Give Jordan Love a chance, a fighting chance at least.
Right. A couple other names. Guard Ben Powers, one of the hot offensive linemen.
He headed over to Denver, right?
Yeah, he went over to the Denver. Zach Allen also to Denver. Lazard, we just talked about, to the Jets. Big signing, a very underrated signing, I think, was linebacker Bobby Okereke. He went from Indianapolis to the Giants. Help out their linebacking core because it's been struggling in recent years.
Him and Gerard Davis. Those are huge pickups. What about Darren Waller?
Darren Waller, that was one of the surprise.
A move.
That was one of the surprise trades from him from Las Vegas to the New York Giants. That's a big move because that's one of the flaws New York Giants had in their offense last year. It was like they could move the ball, but they were lacking some of those key pass catchers. So you had to have guys like Isaiah Hodgins step up. Sterling Shepard was injured. A guy like Richie James was out there running routes. A guy who most teams probably wouldn't start on, but he's a solid backup guy. So you get a guy like Darren Waller. When healthy, Darren Waller is a top 5 tight end, top 6, 7 tight end in this league.
Easy top 5 for me.
Easy top 5. But it's just last year or two has been a little trouble staying on the field with injuries. So a healthy Darren Waller is a big trade because basically they traded the Kadarius Toney pick.
It became Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller at the end of it.
Yeah.
Number 100 overall. I think that's a good enough flyer for potentially getting a player of Darren Waller's caliber for sure.
Yeah, it's just there's so much of a ceiling for Waller. That was a very surprising move for sure. I was not expecting that at all. James Bradbury staying with Philadelphia. Caleb McGarry staying with Atlanta.
But Rashad Penny to the Eagles.
Penny to the Eagles.
That's a very under-the-radar signing that I really enjoy for that offense.
And that's something like Darren Waller to that offense. If Rashad Penny is out there and he's healthy, he's a very good running back.
Damn good running back. And for $1.3 million, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was
only $600,000 guaranteed. I would have been happy if Buffalo gave him $2 million, for example.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was a great signing, great matchup, and he's going to fit great in that Philly offense.
Right. We also have Jacoby Myers to the Vegas Raiders, reuniting with Josh McDaniels. Cameron Sutton to Detroit, potentially to be a starting cornerback. Who else do we have? Juju Smith-Schuster, kind of a surprise. KC to New England.
On the same exact deal that Jacoby Myers had, 3 years, $33 million.
That's a little interesting. Here's the thing: is he fits well in the offense, but like character-wise, I wouldn't expect Juju to go to New England. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the Patriot way is gonna
change him.
It's gonna break Juju.
It's gonna break him. Yeah, because
boo boo.
Yeah. That was a little surprising, but New England did need to address pass catchers, so there you go. A couple other guys. I mean, Jordan Poyer returning to the Buffalo Bills.
That's a huge win for Buffalo.
That's a huge win
I don't
for
think
Buffalo.
anyone expected it to happen, but hey, Jordan Poyer looked at the market and said, you know what? I could probably get a little bit more money, but be on a rebuilding team. Mm-hmm. I'd rather come back home to Buffalo, try to win it all, and retire as a Bill.
Yeah, I think he saw the free agent market, saw a couple of the windows close, and he was like, you know what? We're going to go back to Buffalo. And so
Best deal.
Yeah,
and he never ruled it out either. He never ruled out coming back, but the fans sure did. The fans ruled out him coming back.
It's just when you make comments like, oh, the New York State taxes and like stuff like that, it's like, oh, he's gone. And then like his wife, Rachel Bush, who I'm blocked on Twitter by.
She blocked you?
I don't know when I was blocked by Rachel Bush, but I'm blocked.
Did you?
I must have quoted something in the last couple of years.
Did you call her a goofy name and then she just decided?
I didn't call her any names, but I was probably just like.
Did you call her Take Goofy and then she got her feelings hurt?
Something I said must have hurt her feelings. I want to look it up after and see what I said. But I know a lot of people who are blocked by her on Twitter just because, they think Jordan Poyer is like attractive, or they're just Bills fans and they like, say if he like misses a tackle or something, you're getting blocked. Yeah. So, that's Rachel Bush. Jordan Poyer, that's a big signing for the Bills. Another signing the Bills had. Connor McGovern, I thought was a good under-the-radar signing.
That's really cool. It's funny because there are 2 Connor McGoverns.
And that's the thing. It was like, which one did we get? Because they're both free agents too. So
Did they come out of the same draft also?
no, the Connor McGovern that was on the Jets. He is mostly center, and he's about 4 or 5 years older.
Gotcha.
This other Conor McGregor, McGregor. Wow.
Who the fuck is that?
Conor McGregor. Yeah, Conor McGregor plays center. Connor McGovern. He also played center for Dallas, but was mostly offensive guard. Spot Track has him listed as a center, but he played a lot of guard. The Bills getting Deontay Hardy as well.
I just want to say real quick with Connor McGovern, I really liked what the Cowboys did with him. I really liked what Kellen Moore did with him. They lined him up as a guard. They lined him up as a fullback, even in the tight end spots.
He's a very
they
versatile
had him
guy.
running out. He was like, I think he declared as eligible for half his snaps.
Yeah.
I think he's a good piece to the Buffalo offense and what they're trying to do, and especially the Deontay Hardy signing is evident of where they're trying to go. Last year, Brandon Beane said it with the rack. They're trying to get more rack runs after catch, and I think Connor McGovern is a really great signing that will be a starter. I think all 3 years of this deal.
Right. Yeah, he's a very versatile guy, and this offense it needs as much versatility as it can get. Bill's also getting Deontay Hardy, which a lot of fans are annoyed by, but as for me,
Look at
I
the money. We talked about this pre-show, and at first we were texting back and forth when he first got signed, and you see $13.5 million for 2 years for a guy that had 2 catches last year.
You're like, what the heck? But
exactly. Then you break it down, and he only costs what, $3 million? I think it was like $3.2 million this year, or $2.7 million.
I think he's guaranteed about 4 at signing, but then when you figure in roster bonuses and it's also it's incentive wise it goes up to 11. I'm pretty sure, but it all depends on how he's used. He's basically Isaiah McKenzie because he's a return man, he's a receiver, he's a gadget guy, he's fast.
Do you think McKenzie gets released now?
Well,
or
here's
do you
the thing:
think this is wait till cut days?
It's gonna be Isaiah McKenzie could very well be a cut candidate because you gotta also think. You look at his contract. McKenzie is only on a 2-year, $4.4 million deal, so that's chump change for receivers. So whether or not he does good or not, it's not that much of a cap casualty if he gets beat out by Hardy. But I think this is a signing, a good competition signing for the Bills. Isaiah McKenzie definitely needs to be pushed because he was very underwhelming as our wide receiver 3 when Crowder went down. So, and then also,
what about that interesting tweet? Did you see that? Isaiah McKenzie.
No, I didn't.
Yesterday, he tweeted. He said, "Now is your time, BBB," with a watch or something like that. Kind of incentivize or kind of talking that he was waiting for a move like this. He let's see if I can pull it up. I'll pull it up on our fancy new the world is waiting, BBB. That's what he said.
I think he's probably expecting them to make a crazy splash. I think that's my hot take.
The world is waiting, BBB. And then someone said not the signing you were expecting, right, with the Deontay Hardy signing, and he was like, "No, that was the one I was waiting for."
Oh,
that's hot off the press.
That's interesting. At first I was like, "Oh, okay, that might be a sign to go get one of the big name guys," but I don't know.
Still silent out here.
Yeah. Other than that, we had Jason Kelce staying with Philadelphia. We have Patrick Peterson going to Pittsburgh. We have Eric Kendricks to L.A. Chargers. Who else do we have? Guys like Andy Dalton going to Carolina. And then just recently, as we were starting the show, Miles Sanders to the Panthers, Jamal Williams to the Saints. And how about David Montgomery to the Detroit Lions? That was also a shocker for me.
That was interesting.
Because that means that they basically wrote the ending for Jamal Williams. They still have DeAndre Swift, too.
Right. You would have thought that if they couldn't get Williams back, that DeAndre Swift would become more of that feature back. But, hey, I don't know if they just don't trust his injury history. Yeah. And I don't know if I would either. But then you get a guy like David Montgomery who also couldn't stay healthy. So, I don't know. It was an interesting kind of an eyebrow-raising pickup for me. I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Right. Couple other guys. Clellan Ferrell, the former first-round pick of the Raiders to San Francisco.
Former number 5 overall pick.
Yeah,
That's
number 5
remember that?
overall pick. Yeah, I remember that. Who else do we have? We have Jaron Reed going from Green Bay back to Seattle. He used to be with Seattle a couple years ago. Jacoby Brissett to the Washington Commanders. That was very interesting as well. Samaje Perine to Denver. This is one of those low-key signings because I thought Perine was did very good last year, and then with Denver, you don't know when Javonte Williams is coming back. So if you're fantasy football,
Don't forget they released Chase Edmonds too.
they did release Chase Edmonds. If you need a late round flyer or like a guy to go undrafted, I would give Perine a roster spot your first couple weeks until
He's a prime backup. He was a prime backup last year, the year before that, and I don't think that changes heading over to Denver.
Yeah. Jarrett Stidham to Denver. But yeah, so it's just so many moves. Marcus Davenport to Minnesota. Jimmy Ward to Houston. Robert Woods also to Houston.
We'd have to do like a 72-hour long show just to keep up with all of it.
But yeah, Juan Thornhill to Cleveland, that also happened as we were going on the show. Von Bell to Carolina as well. So yeah, just a lot of names out there.
Wow. Here's news from Adam Schefter that Miles Sanders' deal with the Panthers is a 4-year deal.
4 years.
He got a 4-year deal.
For a guy like him, that's kind of surprising because I would assume he would be more of a short-term guy just because of how
Well, just running backs in general.
running backs in general.
The second contract for 4 years, there's got to be potential. That's another one I'm really interested to see the actual details on.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll be 30 by the time that contract's up.
right. So yeah, we could go on and on about all the free agent signings because there've been so many of them. Let's talk about who's available still. Still have probably the best available player right now is Orlando Brown. That's in my opinion. Super Bowl winning offensive tackle for the Chiefs last year. I think teams are just trying to find a median to what kind of contract they're going to offer because he's going to be a hefty one. Probably one of the more hefty ones we've seen this week.
Dalton Schultz is still on the board too.
Dalton Schultz
I'm
is still on the
surprised
board.
he hasn't re-signed with Dallas yet.
Yep.
And you know what? In my mock, which we'll talk about later, I don't have him going back to Dallas. I think he fits really well in a place like Cincinnati.
Yep.
That'd be an interesting spot for him. And Darius Slay is still out there too.
Darius Slay is still out there. He was a kind of a guy who we didn't really expect to be a free agent, and then it came out that he didn't have any guaranteed money left on his contract. So obviously, you got to get that money. You got to prioritize that. But yeah, he's a free agent after not being able to get traded. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is still out there, probably the best defensive back. Only 25 years old. He's still a top safety.
He was a guy that I wanted the Bills to sign if they couldn't get Poyer back.
Yeah. Helped lead the Eagles secondary along with other veterans on that secondary to a NFC championship.
Here's a guy that's available. The coolest name in the NFL, Rock Ya-Sin.
Rock Ya-Sin.
Rock Ya-Sin is still available.
Rock Ya-Sin is still available.
Former second-round pick out of Indianapolis.
Yep.
Yannick Ngakoue is still there. We talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we dove into that one. Very interesting guy. Still has a lot of play left in him as quality pass rusher. Odell Beckham sweepstakes still going on.
I don't think that'll carry all the way into the season at this rate.
Yeah, that one I really do not know where this man is going because it just looks like this thing is going in multiple different directions.
A name that I'm interested in, and I keep referring back to the Bills, but another like Buffalo signing I could see happening is Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell,
the speedy wide receiver out of Indianapolis.
Yeah, Paris Campbell's a guy who has been kind of
4.3 40 at his combine.
He's fast. Yeah, he's fast. He's not short either. He was a stud at Ohio State.
Just couldn't put it together at Indianapolis, but a fresh scenery I think would help him. He had some breakout games this past year, but I think he can turn some things around.
Linebacker Bobby Wagner still available. Second team All Pro last year. He's aged at 33. Got cut by the Rams.
Still got it though.
Still got it. If a team needing a veteran middle linebacker presence, give him an offer because like Levante David, he's off the board. He went back to Tampa Bay. A couple other guys. DJ Chark, probably the best available wide receiver at the moment. A guy who had a very solid year. I don't know about very solid, but a solid year with Detroit. He's going to want a good amount of money. He's still available. And then also Mike Gesicki is available as well.
I don't know where he would fit. Maybe he goes,
tight end is just a sticky situation.
Maybe he goes back to Miami. Who knows?
And then just a couple other guys. Marcus Peters still available. Aged at 30. Very.
He's another back that's still got it too. I think he could still get a good lucrative 2 to 3 year deal. I would say very incentive laden.
Yeah.
But maybe even a place like Detroit. I could see a place like that.
Also, we have Leonard Floyd, another one of the Rams casualties, age 30, but a still solid edge rusher. And then probably one or two last guys. Shaq Griffin, age 38, solid cornerback from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think you can, get him not too expensive and possibly one of these cornerback needy teams.
Yeah,
be a starter.
Definitely.
For.
Another guy that kind of piques my eye. Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke.
Zeke was released earlier today.
Yeah, a couple hours ago.
I don't know. I think he's not prime Zeke. He's not going to get you 1,000 yards rushing, but he is still very, very good as a pass protector. Is still, an effective runner. I mean, he averaged 3.7 yards a carry last season. Yeah. It's not like he was averaging 2. The Cowboys had a good line though, so that's something to factor in. But it was clear in Dallas that Tony Pollard was the better back.
Right.
But I think Zeke can go in there and still be efficient and effective in the right scheme. Him and Devin Singletary is still out there.
Yep, forgot about him.
And Kareem Hunt, for that matter. The running backs have been going late. We really haven't seen. I feel like the dominoes are going to start to fall now that Rashad Penny and Miles Sanders got their deals. Jamal Williams got his deal. Yep. So, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Who would you say was winners or had been winners or losers up until this point? We're about 8:00 on Wednesday.
My number one winner right now is got to be probably the Giants. Given they locked in their franchise quarterback, who they believe is their franchise guy. That's compared to everything, it's their guy. That they locked their quarterback down for 4 years.
Right.
They tagged Saquon Barkley. They brought back Matt Breida. They brought back all the pieces they wanted to bring back this year, and then grabbed Darren Waller. Freshened up their linebacker core, added to their D line and Raheem Nunez-Roches. Re-signed their punter. They did great 48 hours into it, and now they have to. They're going into the draft without having to pick a need. They could just pick best player available, which that's a philosophy that Brandon Beane in Buffalo used, and so I'm sure Joe Shine picked that up for New York.
Right. A winner I want to say is the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears moving back from number 1 to number 9, so the Carolina Panthers are on the clock. I thought the Panthers. I mean, when you're trading for the number 1 pick, you're obviously going to overpay.
Of course,
most of the time. But I think the Bears won this trade. They got DJ Moore out of this, a need that they really need. A true number 1. Darnell Mooney has been the number 1 the last 2 seasons, but
I think he would flourish as a number 2 guy.
Yeah, I think you really, really needed to get a guy like DJ Moore, a clear-cut number 1 receiver for Justin Fields to help spark up that passing game. So they moved back from 1. They're still in the top 10 as they only moved back to 9.
Right.
So, they could still address, they could still move back, and then if Jalen Carter, with his allegations and stuff like that drops, you could get him at 9, realistically.
I've seen that happen. Yeah. I've seen that in mocks. And they pick up a first for next year. They pick up Carolina's first, too.
Yep.
Think about that. Carolina's probably not going to have a real hot season next year. They're in that start of their rebuild.
Yep.
So I'm surprised that they paid for they used their first next year because they know they're rebuilding. That first-round pick could have been very valuable. But
I personally wouldn't have traded DJ Moore, if I'm going to be honest. If you have quarterback on your radar, right, you want a guy like DJ Moore to help out your quarterback and be his guy. Because they're obviously going to trade up. They did trade up. But in our mock drafts, you're going to see
Like, who's he throwing to? Shi Smith, Terrace Marshall, Laviska Shenault,
That's the thing. It's like you're setting up
Tommy Tremble.
You're
Oh,
saying-
they got Hayden Hurst. I will say they got Hayden Hurst.
You got Hayden Hurst. That's gonna help, but you need receivers, man.
And then who's running? Who's running next to him? Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders.
And now
Yep.
it's Miles Sanders.
Yep.
True, that's true.
So it's definitely interesting. I just when you're trading to go get a quarterback, I just feel like you shouldn't trade your number one guy.
No, that seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Me personally.
Yeah. I would rather have just like I would eat the casualty of giving away another pick.
Yeah.
Like a second or a third. Just throw another one in there in the future to try to replace the DJ Moore factor in that trade,
Or throw in one of your defensive guys.
yeah, or do that, or like if you had another guy who was a good complement, like a good number 2 guy to DJ Moore, then yeah. But Terrace Marshall, we haven't seen him yet. Shi Smith is not a starting receiver. It's just they're just setting him up for failure a little bit. So it's gonna be a little while till we see a solid Panthers season for sure.
I mean, hey, unless they go grab DeAndre Hopkins.
They could, but then you just got to trade more of your assets. That's the thing. It's like you had DJ
Right.
Moore in your back pocket.
I mean, they could go out
And
and
he's
grab
young.
Odell Beckham. We
They
don't know
could-
yet.
See, that's a guy who you're probably going to have to resort to now is somebody in the free agency. So like DJ Chark.
I
Odell
can
Beckham.
guarantee that the starting wide receiver core is not going to be Terrace Marshall, Laviska Shenault, and Shi Smith. Is it time to give up on the Laviska Shenault?
No,
train?
I mean, he got traded there midway through last year, right?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So I wouldn't not in Carolina. I wouldn't ship him off just yet. I'd give him a chance, but after the season, I think it's time to either he needs to change something up or something has to happen. But the Bears also getting linebackers T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds to help bolster that defense. Tremaine Edmonds, we're Bills fans. That one hurt.
That was a good signing by them.
It was a good signing by them. Little pricey signing, but he's a young linebacker who's already been in the league 5 years, and he's 24, about to be 25. He's a stud. He's an athletic freak. So big signing. T.J. Edwards
The
also.
scary thing with Tremaine Edmonds is he hasn't hit his prime yet.
No.
He hasn't hit his athletic prime.
And that's why I wish somehow, some way we could have retained him. But from the money he got from Chicago, there was no way.
Yeah, $18 million a year was not in the budget.
Yeah.
It was not in the budget at all.
A loser, I want to say the NFC champions, Philadelphia Eagles, have been losers so far.
Yeah, because they're losing everybody.
They're losing everybody. They're able to keep James Bradbury, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson still not signed yet. You have a guy like Javon Hargrave. He's gone. He is gone. He went to the Niners. Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox both coming back, but they're both up there in age.
Yeah.
They got back Jason Kelsey, but he's also ancient. Not ancient, but he for an NFL player standards, he's
Old
ancient.
man Kelsey still
Yeah.
kicking it.
Yeah, so just a couple of those defensive pieces is just kind of if they could retain C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I'll feel a little bit better.
How
But
about Cincinnati? Cincinnati kind of,
another loser.
yeah.
They're
They're losing guys and they're not re-signing them.
Yeah, they lost Jesse Bates to Atlanta. Both starting safeties are gone. They both went to Atlanta and Panthers. Von Bell went to the Panthers.
They did get Jermaine Pratt on a 3-year deal, so that's something.
He's a nice veteran starter. But you lose starting tight end Hayden Hurst to the Panthers, who I thought was starting to come in his own in Cincinnati. And then Samaje Perine, as we were talking about, key backup. Joe Mixon has some legal issues kind of, brewing. So
And let me ask you about this. Are you going to feed into those Jamar Chase rumors at all
I've seen some stuff
about his baby mama?
His baby mama. I saw the Instagram story. Until it really starts to intensify, I'm gonna say no.
Did you see any of the screenshots?
I've seen some of the screenshots. Yeah.
I mean, no denying he was being an
something.
a-hole.
Yeah, something
but-
happened. We just don't know.
But what happened is my question.
Yeah, we don't really know. We just know that he's a POS.
From a fantasy perspective, are you ditching off your assets of Jamar Chase?
I'm still as of right now,
holding?
as of today, I'm still holding.
I mean, 2 firsts, couple players.
still
What does a
holding.
package for Jamar Chase look like right now?
I'm still holding.
Hold?
If I'm Cincinnati, I'm not dishing him away.
I'm talking from a fantasy perspective.
Oh, fantasy
Yes.
perspective. Like, are you saying for like a
if you are
in
a
dynasty?
if you are a dynasty holder,
I mean, I would still hold him in dynasty. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a generation. Him and Jettas are generational talents. It's they have potential to be like a Randy Moss to Terrell Owens type deal. I'm still holding on. But if there were to be a trade, I mean, he's gonna be a top 3 pick, top 5 pick. So I'm holding him. You're probably gonna have to give up 2 first rounders, maybe like a first and like a 1-2 and like a player. But I'm still holding for sure.
interesting.
A winner. Who do you have a winner for me?
So we talked about it. I like Miami a lot. Miami won so far with getting Jalen Ramsey for a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, that was a very good deal for them.
They sent over a third and a backup tight end in Hunter Long.
Yep.
They got Mike White on a 2-year deal.
Yep.
Dog. Got Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson back. Come on now. And then they found a new tight end in Eric Sobert to be their backup guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got David Long on a 2-year deal. That's solid. That is a solid free agency so far.
Speaking of cornerback trades, we forgot to mention this, but Stephon Gilmore went to Dallas too.
Quietly.
For
a fifth round
yeah.
pick. I feel like the cornerback position in age, like it's starting to get devalued.
It's starting to become like like a running back, receiver. We see more older receivers, but running back as well. Like cornerbacks over 30 are starting to get a little more scarce. Yeah. So we'll definitely see. But with me, Miami's on the border for me. Miami, obviously, really good deal with Jalen Ramsey, but other than that, I mean, they retained their running backs, Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. They haven't really done anything else for me just because – well, here's the thing. They don't have a first-round pick.
Yep.
So they need to if they want to contend with the Bills and be a division winner, they need to make another big splash. I'm not going to lie. Jalen Ramsey is good. Helps bolster that defense, but you need to – fill the void of who that first-round pick would have been.
I've heard rumblings that they're trying to go after Dalvin Cook or Austin Eckler.
But, I mean, the Mostert and Wilson contracts weren't anything crazy, so they're expendable.
Right, exactly.
They're expendable, but if you could get your hands on a guy like Dalvin Cook, by all means, do it.
Go for it.
But Dolphins are a little bit on the fence for me. I think they do need to go after a linebacker of some sort. But if Miami would have landed Tremaine Edmonds now, if they would have got Ramsey and then they signed Tremaine Edmonds, I'd be sitting here saying Miami
crap
to
in
the
my
moon.
pants.
Miami to the moon. What about would you consider the Jets winners?
I don't think there's enough there just yet for me.
Okay.
The Aaron Rodgers trade hasn't happened yet.
It still hasn't happened yet, technically.
They went and grabbed everyone that has ever touched the hand of Aaron Rodgers and put them on the roster. Yep. But the deal for the Golden Man is not. He's still fighting the Hat Man somewhere. So the deal's not done. I've heard that they want as much as 2-round picks from the Jets, or 2 first-round picks from the Jets.
A 39-year-old quarterback.
This is similar to the Matt Stafford package that they were looking at.
This could potentially.
They're modeling this trade package after the Matt Stafford package. Now, I don't think that they're going to get 2 first-round picks. I go back to the Brett Favre trade way back when he went to the Jets, and they got a conditional 4 that could turn into a 3, which I think ended up only being a 4. I think you're going to see a deal very similar in this. Like I said, history is a flat circle. We'll probably get a deal kind of close to that where it's a 3rd that can turn to a conditional 2nd, or maybe even a conditional 1st, depending on incentives. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I think they'll get a day 2 pick, a day 3 pick, and possibly a player. Like I said, maybe like Elijah Moore.
That was an interesting point you made. Don't you think history is repeating itself? It literally feels like Aaron Rodgers is repeating what Brett Favre did. Not exactly, but you win very good careers. but you only win a Super Bowl each. Brett Favre has one. Aaron Rodgers has one. And then this whole milking of the process of, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to retire. But Brett Favre dragged it a little bit with how many times he came out of retirement. But yeah, had this great career with the Green Bay Packers. Didn't have the expectations really with championships. He did get one ring. But then you go to the Jets.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, maybe I'm just saying screw it and then skip right to the welfare stealing part of the career.
Yeah. it's so I'm not determining who they are yet, winners or losers. Depends what it is. If it's no first round picks or it's at least one, then I would consider them winners. But if they're giving up like 2 first rounders and if they're giving up this hefty package for Aaron Rodgers, then they're losers. But if they do a type of deal like Brett Favre, they do like a day 2 trade or a day 2 and a day 3 pick for him, and it turns into something more, then yes.
Interesting point that Aaron Rodgers brought up when he was on the Pat McAfee show today was that, this is just what Green Bay does. They draft their next player, they draft their future, and then stick them behind the starter for a couple of years, let them learn. That's just how they are as an organization. You saw it with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and now with Jordan Love. The one thing he said, though, was this deal would have happened sooner if he didn't win back-to-back MVPs. So we have to remember, yes, he's 39 years old, but he is still an elite player.
Right.
This was kind of a down year for the team as a whole, but who is he throwing to? Christian Watson the second half of the year, but Christian Watson the first half of the year was still trying to figure it out.
We're really going to see who Aaron Rodgers is right now because that Jets offense is primed to be.
They're a quarterback away, the Jets, to be a contender.
They're good offense, and so we'll see if it was Rodgers last year or it was the receivers or it was both for Green Bay.
A healthy Breece Hall, likely a top flight tackle in the draft, if they don't trade their first.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard. We'll see. I mean, who's their tight end right now?
C.J. Uzomah, I'm pretty sure.
They have C.J. Uzomah. Okay, solid tight end, athletic tight end.
Yeah.
So I think that the Jets, as long as they can protect their first-round pick, this is going to be a solid team.
Yeah. And then lastly, got to talk about our Buffalo Bills. Who would you consider the Bills as of right now, losers or winners?
Like, I had to pick one.
They're are they a winner or a loser so far up to this point of free agency?
They're if it's a spectrum, they're right on the neutral side. They're right on the. They're re-signing their guys. They're doing what they're doing. I mean, they extended Matt Milano to make cap space.
Yep.
They restructured the contracts for Allen,
Vaughn, and
Diggs, and Von.
That was almost like $40 million.
Right.
Yeah, between the three.
They reconstructed Nyheim Hines, and they signed their backup quarterback. They got another return guy. They grabbed a guard. There hasn't been a real big move. I guess you could consider re-signing Jordan Poyer as a big move so far, but they haven't done much yet. But this is kind of Buffalo's MO. Remember that the Von Miller and O.J. Howard deals happened one after another, a few days after free agency started.
Yeah, Bean is not a guy who's making splash
of
the gates.
They're moving quiet and they're moving methodical.
Yeah, that's how Bean works.
I don't know what they're going to target yet. They still have a couple holes that I'd like them to fill. I'm looking at another veteran wide receiver, someone that could, potentially steal time from Gabe Davis and being that number 2 guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking for another linebacker. I don't know if Terrell Bernard is the answer.
Or Terrell Dodson.
Exactly. And they have no one behind them. AJ Klein's still a free agent. And I'd like to maybe see them get youthful at safety behind, or just defensive back in general. So there's still some holes to fill. They still have some moves to make. But yeah, I'll be real interested to see how they go. But they haven't quite won just yet.
So here's what I am at. Up until the Poyer resigning, I had them at losers. So I'm going to do an example. We have a gauge right here, right? We went from pretty solid losers to we're about to hit the neutral mark for me. I think we're slight losers still right now after the Poyer re-signing. I like the Connor McGovern signing. That's good. Deontay Hardy one. I'm on the fence. I can see why they did it. He has potential to replace McKenzie, as we said. But I still think they need another big move to compete with the likes of Miami, getting like Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, even Juju Smith-Schuster to the Patriots. You gotta, as you said, the Bills are a little late to the saddle, to the race when it comes to free agency. You see the moves come days later after the tampering period starts. So right now they are slight losers. I would say like a 60-40 type, 55 even 45%.
I'm still just neutral with them. I don't have much yet.
Yeah, we need more. We need more for sure. As you said, the receiver would help. That Deontay Hardy is a good guy to have, but he's not the answer.
He's not the pole mover. He's not the line crosser. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a guy that has a ceiling of 700 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's a fast guy. He can add rack, and he can kind of add some horizontal value to the playing field, but he's not a guy that's really like moving the needle for me.
And he could be a return man too. He's going to battle a lot with Hines and McKenzie for return man and Shakir.
And I think that was a motion to kind of show fans and just show everyone that Hines is going to probably be more of a running back than a returner, unlike how we saw it last season. Yeah. I think they're really going to get him involved more on the offense. We haven't seen his incentives just yet on that new contract, but I'm sure they'll be very offensively heavy.
Yeah. So, as I said, they just need to do a little bit more for me to consider them winners. Just right now, they are slight losers. So that's free agency up to this point. A lot of news, still a lot of things we still haven't. We're not going to be able to see and break down until next episode, because as I said, there's a lot of teams that are late to the party, but they make bigger splashes that happen that are bigger than the players or the teams that have occurred the first couple days. So that being said, let's move on to our mock drafts. Me and Nico both have released our 1.0 mock drafts, and we're gonna break them down. To say the least, mine's a little scary.
Where do we want to start? Mike's is on the left.
Mine's on the left. I'll start with mine. This one, so here we're gonna come out with a couple mock drafts. I want to come up with a couple mock drafts.
Few iterations, right?
Yeah, few iterations. This one is going to be this is 1.0. There's no trades on this mock draft, and we're gonna see what you guys think. Number one, and we're gonna break it down a little bit. Not every pick, but we're gonna break it down. Number one overall, I have Panthers going quarterback. I have them going C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in this draft. Most polished, coming from, I don't know if he's the best offense, but he's the number 2 offense behind Bryce Young. But I just like, when you're separating Stroud and Young, I like to say that Stroud is 1A, Young is 1B.
Okay.
So that's 1 and 2. Houston, I have going quarterback as well. Davis Mills is the answer. Bryce Young goes 2. I don't see either of those quarterbacks slipping past 2 unless there is something that happens to hurt their draft stock. Again, these are no trades yet. I do want to incorporate trades, maybe the last one we made.
Yeah, I was not going to mess with trades just yet.
It's so complicated, dude. It is so complicated. So, number 3, I have Arizona going edge rusher Will Anderson from Alabama. A lot of people are saying he is the best prospect coming out of this draft all around. Arizona needs a replacement for Hassan Reddick. We didn't see it that much last year. They need a guy like Will Anderson, young, generational talent. No-brainer here. 4, you can make the argument that Anthony Richardson could be 1 or 2, but I have him going number 4. He moves up a little bit after his combine. He's going to go to the Indianapolis Colts. They just parted ways with Matt Ryan as well, so their quarterback right now is Sam Ehlinger. They need a quarterback. So no-brainer. They're going quarterback. Whoever it is, I have Anthony Richardson. Number 5, Jalen Carter was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick when the Bears had it. And then also he had his allegations that came out against him. So I have him dropping, but I don't have him dropping far. We don't know the extent to what's going to happen with him. So he drops but doesn't drop too far. I have him going number 5 to the Seattle Seahawks.
You and I have the same exact top 5.
We have the same exact top 5. That's what we saw earlier in the show. Or not in the early in the show. Before the show, we talked about it. Jalen Carter, defensive interior. They need a little – if they don't re-sign Poona Ford, you get a guy to pair with Jaron Reed. Jalen Carter can play anywhere in the defensive line.
I'm just comparing our 2 mock drafts, and there are only 2 of the same picks in the rest of the first round after that top 5.
It gets hell. It gets hellish for me.
It gets insane for both of us.
It's going to be good. So this is where it starts shaking up. Number 6, I have the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit can trade out of this pick. But right now, I still have them going cornerback despite them getting Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley.
That's fair. I was going back and forth. They could still use the youth at corner.
They have Jeff Okudah.
Right.
But
it's just Jeff Okudah.
It's just Jeff Okudah. This might be a little bit of a ticky-tack pick, but, you know, when you get a guy like Devin Witherspoon sitting at your feet at 6, again, I don't think Detroit hangs on to this pick.
I think they definitely move it. Whoever it is going to jump in front of the Raiders to grab a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Raiders are 100% committing to grabbing a quarterback, but if Will Levis or someone else kind of falls into their lap, how could you say no?
Yeah. So I say get the best player available right now. They need to bolster their defense more. I like Mosley. I like Sutton. But you get Witherspoon, you're really set at cornerback. 7.
This Pete Skoronski.
Pete
number
Skoronski
7.
at
All
number
right.
7. Raiders' offensive line has been abysmal. Colin Miller was
Agreed.
not the answer. Alex Leatherwood was not the answer. They're for a couple first-round pick guys that they had the last couple of years. You get a guy, a top 10 offensive lineman. I think personally the best lineman off the board, Pete Skoronski from Northwestern. You get a guy to help protect Jimmy Garoppolo. And, yeah, Pete Skoronski, number 7.
Right.
Number 8, Atlanta Falcons getting Texas Tech edge rusher Tyree Wilson. They need to address defense, too. They got Jesse Bates at safety, but you get a good pass rusher. When's the last time they've had a quality pass rusher?
That's a good point.
That's good. Like Vic Beasley?
Right.
Maybe like when in his prime. He had a little short-lived prime.
Deion Jones, maybe. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. Tyree Wilson, they need to address edge. He's sitting there at number 8. I say you go. You could also go quarterback too, but I think they're running with the Ritter, Heineke. Heineke went to Atlanta, right?
He did.
Yeah. So I think they're riding with those 2 quarterbacks there. Give me Tyree Wilson to Atlanta. Number 9, Chicago getting Paris Johnson. Unless Jalen Carter drops to them at 9, I think they go best player available. Paris Johnson sitting here at 9. Gives them a little bit more help at offensive tackle. Need to help protect Justin Fields a little bit more because that offensive line last year was a little scary. So you get a guy like Paris Johnson out of Ohio State to help Justin Fields' potential blind side. Number 10, I have Eagles going cornerback Christian Gonzalez. They're losing Darius Slay. You get a guy to replace Slay and a pair of James Bradbury and a young guy. Gonzalez, him and Witherspoon are like 1A, 1B with cornerbacks. I think Witherspoon right now has the upper hand, but give me Christian Gonzalez at 10. 11. This is going to be a little interesting pick. I have Tennessee getting wide receiver from Ohio State, Jackson Smith and Njigba.
So that's interesting because in mine, I have him going to pick before to Philadelphia.
Really?
Just think about that trio of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then Jackson Smith and Njigba in the slot.
It'd be scary. I just think with Darius Slay leaving, I think cornerback is a little bit more of a need. Jack Smith and Njigba, you pair him with Treylon Burks, the offense looks a little bit better now. You miss out unless Paris Johnson or a Pete Skoronski is there at 11 because they really need to bolster their offensive line. I don't think they reach on anybody else here. I think you just go safe and get Jackson Smith and Njigba, or you trade back and get a guy like Broderick Jones. 12, Houston going defensive interior, Kalijah Kancey from Pittsburgh. He had a very good combine. Definitely helped out his stock. I have him going in the top 15. You could say if Smith and Jiba falls to 12, pair him with C.J. Stroud. If you go that route, if they go Stroud at 2, if Young goes 1, you pair him with Jackson, Smith, and Jiba at 12. Could do that as well. Brandon Cooks could be traded. But Kalijah Kancey, they need to address defense. And starting at the defensive interior, you get a guy who's fast off the ball, big defensive tackle. Give me Kancey at 12. You could also say Brian Breesy here, but I think Kancey's combine puts him ahead of Breesy right now.
I agree. I mean, the Aaron Donald comparisons just write themselves.
Yeah. 13, I have Broderick Jones going to Georgia. Get a guy to protect Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers,
Potentially Aaron Rodgers.
Got to say that. He's going to be bitching if things don't go well for him. He's getting, rushed every play. Mekhi Becton has had his injuries.
Becton.
Yeah, he's had his injuries. So you get a guy like Broderick Jones to solidify that other offensive tackle spot. He's from Georgia, national championships. He's an athletic freak. Give me Jones at 13. 14, Patriots getting edge rusher Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. This just spells Patriots for me right here because it's a guy that he seems like he's a Patriots player.
He just sounds like that.
He sounds
like
a
the name
Patriots
of a Patriots player.
Bill Belichick's probably looking at him and licking his chops. So they need to address edge as well. Outside of Matt Judon, you get Judon on one side, Van Ness on the other side. You got a little bit of a pass rush going on in New England. 15. This is going to be a funny pick. I have Green Bay going receiver finally. Once Aaron Rodgers potentially leaves.
In spite
of Rodgers, you help out Jordan Love, and you get TCU receiver Quentin Johnson.
That just makes too much sense.
They have Christian Watson. You have Dobbs, but Dobbs is a little on the fence. Watson is more solidified as a starter. You get a guy like Quentin Johnson, and you help out Jordan Love as much as you can. 16. Will
Levis finally shows up.
Will Levis finally shows up. I just couldn't see more than 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. And I'm not trying to slander Will Levis. I think a team will trade up for him potentially. But again, this is no trades. I have Will Levis dropping to 16.
Wow, that's the wow of the draft.
Wow of the draft so far. He goes to Washington.
See, I thought I got a little spicy. No, that's spicy. That's spicy.
Every year you see guys drop. And this is going to happen with another guy. You're going to be surprised at the end of this draft. Guys drop every year. Will Levis could go like around the 10 to 12 range as well. Somebody trades up, but no trades. Give me Will Levis to Washington. They need to address quarterback.
Wow. You don't believe in Sam Howell?
I don't believe.
You don't believe in the Sam Howell Eric Bieniemy combo?
I think you need a guy to compete with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if I'm putting all my chips in with Sam Howell yet. I can see the Raiders also going Will Levis because Jimmy Garoppolo is over the age of 30. So that's another team you can look out for. But right now, give me Will Levis to Washington. Number 17, I have a little Pittsburgh homage here. You get a guy in your backyard. You get Joey Porter Jr. at cornerback.
That's a big backyard.
It's a big backyard. It is a big
Pittsburgh
backyard.
To Penn State.
Pittsburgh to Penn State. I mean, okay, that's a wrong comparison because there is Pitt University. But I mean, Joey Porter was a Pittsburgh Steeler.
That's that. Yeah. Yes, that's true.
I think that was more.
That's where you're coming from.
More where I was going at. They need to address cornerback. Give me Joey Porter to Pittsburgh at 17. 18, Detroit again. I think they stay 18 here unless they trade back again.
They got to pick a player at some point.
Give me Brian Breesy at 18. They have Aiden Hutchinson off the edge. They do need a little bit more interior help. Brian Breesy here makes a lot of sense. This is another shocking pick.
So you have both Tyree Wilson and Brian Breesy going to the Lions. They're rebolstering their entire defensive line. Huh?
They're rebolstering their line, yes. Wait, no.
Oh no, nope. I'm looking at mine. I'm looking at mine.
You're looking at yours.
Yeah.
They got. I had them getting Devin Witherspoon.
Yep. Okay.
So Brian Breesy, interior. This is another shocking pick. I have Dalton Kincaid going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Not Michael Mayer.
Not Michael Mayer. I think Kincaid's a little bit better. Mayer. I like Mayer, but I think Kincaid's going to be the guy to go. He just offers a little bit more to me. Tampa also, I think, I said this before, I think Lamar Jackson is a dark horse candidate for Tampa Bay. You get a guy at tight end. Cade Otton, I don't know, is the answer. They haven't had they also released Cameron Brate. Don't have Rob Gronkowski anymore. You get a guy like Dalton Kincaid.
Play some 12 personnel, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, help him out at tight end. It's a little. There's not a lot of teams where I see a glaring tight end hole unless you get to not the Giants. Say if like the Raiders trade back in, I could see him getting a tight end, but just not a lot of teams with tight end needs. 20, Seattle. They really need to address the interior line. I think they reach a little bit, but they get a guy in Osiris Torrance.
That's the best guard of the draft.
Best guard of the draft. You get him at 20. I don't think it's a bad pick. I just think it's a tiny bit of a reach.
It's high for a guard, but I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
You got your guy, and you want to get your pick of the litter of interior O-line. I like that.
Right. So Torrance to Seattle. 21, a little bit of a shocker, but I have Jordan Addison out of USC going to the Chargers. They're talking about Keenan Allen still might be a cap casualty. We still don't know yet. And Mike Williams, he gets hurt often. You get a guy like Jordan Addison, bring him to the mix. If Allen leaves, you have Mike Williams and Addison. And, as I said, Williams' injury history, Jordan Addison could emerge as like a number one receiver, given what happens.
Yeah.
So I think, you get a guy to help out Justin Herbert. They need another target on that team on offense. Give me Addison. 22, I have Baltimore going Miles Murphy. Bolster up their defense a little bit more. Murphy, he could go anywhere on this draft board. I just have him slipping a little bit to 22 just for other team needs. Miles Murphy out of Clemson. You pair him in that defense on the other side of Owe.
Yeah.
Jason Owe. So, or is it Adafe Owe? Didn't he change his name? Or I forget what Owe did, but I think it was Jason Owe, and then he changed it to like an Odafe Owe, but I don't know. Last name's Owe. So give me Miles Murphy to Baltimore.
Yeah, it would be Odafe.
Odafe, I was right. 23, give me Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks. They did get Byron Murphy, but I think they go cornerback in the draft as well to help solidify that secondary. Last year was a little scary. Let Cameron Dantzler walk. Patrick Peterson also walk. Murphy, Banks, solidify that cornerback tandem. 24, I have Jacksonville going Alabama safety Brian Branch. Best safety in the draft. A little bit of a weak safety draft.
Yeah, but Brian Branch is just such a fun prospect because he's a do-it-all defensive player.
He is. And with them releasing Shaq Griffin, their secondary is probably their most glaring need in Jacksonville. So, yeah, give me Brian Branch at 24. 25 is an interesting pick. I have the Giants going Zay Flowers.
I also have wide receiver for here.
Yeah.
This is a perfect spot for wide receiver.
You see, they need a receiver. They got Darren Waller. You can't surround a quarterback with too many passing options. You need a true number one receiver. Zay Flowers gets picked at 25, and he becomes that guy. 26, I have a little bit.
Okay, yeah, this is getting interesting.
I have a little bit of a reach. I have Washington State linebacker Deion Henley. Leighton Vander Esch has injury history. Contemplating getting re-signed. I think you need to help out your front seven a little bit. A little bit of a reach. I think Dallas goes 26. Goes linebacker here at 26. It's not a good linebacker draft. I think him and Jack Campbell are the two best linebackers.
What about Simpson from Clemson?
He's also up there, but I probably have him at 3 or 4 for me. So yeah, give me Deion Henley at 26. 27, the Buffalo Bills. Bijan Robinson.
Best pick of the draft.
I agree. Robinson. You get a guy, you have James Cook, but you get a guy with Bijan Robinson.
That's a 1-2 punch.
That's a 1-2 punch right there. You really need to solidify your run game. Devin Singletary had his moments. Could make the argument he was underutilized. You get a guy, Bijan Robinson, generational talent at running back. Give me Bijan to Buffalo. 28, Cincinnati. I feel like it's no brainer. You have to go offensive tackle. I'm going Oklahoma.
Best guy on the board.
I'm going Oklahoma tackle Anton Harrison. They really need to re-solidify that offensive line because it was like good, bad, good.
There was
back
good,
to
bad, then there was ugly.
Yeah. Now it's back to ugly. They need to address tackle to help out Joe Burrow.
I like your pick here at 29. Not to jump into it, but
29.
That's interesting.
Give me a little bit of a reach. Give me Emmanuel Force from Mississippi State. Pair him with Marshawn Lattimore.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
A little southern cooking, New Orleans, Mississippi State, right there. Eagles, their second pick of the first round. I have TCU guard Steve Avila.
Steve Avila is a good pick here. I think he's the number 2 guard in this draft behind Osiris Torrance.
Yep. They need to address Isaac Seumalo hasn't been signed yet, but we could see him leave. So as right now, give me Avila at 30, and then 31, Nolan Smith.
He's a guy that really shot up a lot of draft boards. He had a fantastic combine.
He shot up a lot of draft boards. I've seen him going top 15. I've seen him going all over the draft board.
Oh, wait till you see mine.
Yeah, I have him going 31. I think it's going to be – Chiefs always find the steal of the draft. You always see guys bounce out of the first round.
I think of George Karlaftis last year.
Yeah, and you see guys come into the first round who you didn't think. Like a guy like Emmanuel Forbes, a guy like Deion Henley. They always find their way in the first round.
Yeah.
And you might not think right now they're going to be first-round picks. So, yeah, that's – Nolan Smith had a really good combine. I think he's a first-round pick. I think he just makes it and give me Kansas City. They didn't lose. They cut Frank Clark.
Yeah.
So that is my draft board. That's 1-0. It's going to get better. I know it's a little rough. There's a little surprising picks here, but this is 1-0.
Got to start it out with a bang.
Got to start off with a bang. Nico, you're up.
All right, so our top 5 stays the same. Give me C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Carter.
All right.
The only thing that really has some sort of variation, I think, in what's going to happen in real life is that pick at number 4. Maybe they like Will Levis better. I don't know. Maybe Cardinals trade for number 3 and jump in front of the Colts to take Anthony Richardson. And then Colts are stuck with Will Levis. So let's see. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go right past the top 5 and then go right into number 6, and the Lions get help on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson and Tyree Wilson.
See, when I was making my draft, my first mock, I had Wilson going at 6.
I've seen mocks of him going at 3. I've seen people draft him over Will Anderson. It's not that I'm saying I would, but
I don't
I've
agree,
seen it happen.
but I have him as my number 2 edge rusher.
He is a phenomenal talent. Number 7, Will Levis falls into the Raiders' laps.
Okay.
I think this is a great pickup for them. They get their quarterback of the future, and he can sit for a year or 2 behind Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Jimmy Garoppolo has embraced this role, I feel, and there shouldn't be any problem here. And the way that they're paying him, I'll have to look into see where the cap and where there's a potential out for them. Yeah. But I'm sure there is some sort of way for them to get an out because I'm sure they'll want their quarterback after 3 years.
Right.
At number 8, give me the first wide receiver taken off the board in Quentin Johnston. Now, here we go. They're going to ride with Desmond Ridder this year. They went on, and Arthur Smith, that's who's over there now, right? They put his trust over in Desmond Ridder. So give me Quentin Johnston here on help alongside of Drake London. You lose Calvin Ridley from last year.
Yep.
So you don't have him. He's coming back this year. He's going to be phenomenal for the Jags. You don't have any other receivers outside of him. So give me Quentin Johnston. Number 9, give me Devin Witherspoon.
Before you start, you have Johnston over Smith and Jiba?
I do. I
Okay.
do. I think Jackson Smith and Jiba goes really well into the slot, and I think that Quentin Johnston is going to go to Atlanta because Atlanta wants more of that prototypical number 1 guy. I mean, Quentin Johnston is huge. He is massive. And I think they kind of opt for size, similar to – I think he pairs really well with Drake London.
Right.
Number 9, give me Devin Witherspoon. This is just fill the need. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago trades back again. So I like Devin Witherspoon here, though. This fills a need that they have. It really helps out their secondary. Number 10, this is more of a dream for me. I don't think this is going to happen, but give me Jackson Smith and Jiba at number 10.
Yep.
Give me a insane triplet package in Philadelphia, and I think that makes a lot of Philly fans happy. Number 11, give me Peter Skoronski. Best tackle, I think, in the draft, and it fills a need. Number 12, give me Lucas Van Ness. We talked about already. He's going to be a phenomenal player in the NFL, and Houston needs help at their edge. So give me Lucas Van Ness at number 12. Number 13, give me Paris Johnson Jr. For the Jets. Like we talked about, the Jets just need to help out Aaron Rodgers' blindside. He's going to be very upset if he doesn't have his guy. So for my first surprise of the draft, give me Nolan Smith at number 14 to the New England Patriots. I think that this kind of fits the mold of a Bill Belichick player.
Not Lucas Van Ness, man.
See, Lucas Van Ness is already gone in my mock.
Yeah, okay.
So give me Nolan Smith, a phenomenal combine. He'll fit into that 3-4 scheme real nicely.
Right.
At number 15, give me Michael Mayer. I don't think the Packers are going to be getting back Robert Tonyan, and he's getting old anyway. So you put all your trust inside of Jordan Love, and you get a guy like Michael Mayer, I think, who's the number 1 tight end in the draft. We'll see how things shake out, especially with pro days coming up. But to me, I think Michael Mayer is going to be the first tight end off the board. Give me him to the Packers at 15. Number 16, I have the Commanders going Christian Gonzalez. He slid too far, I think. This is similar to yours. It's a player that has just slid down the draft, and some team is going to get the best player available. Christian Gonzalez is a solid corner, and it's a need. So I like them. I like him at 16. And then going into number 17, to kind of take your backyard joke, give me Pitt Panther Kalijah Cansey. I think he helps their defensive line. He's going to be another need, and they have they already have the connections in Pittsburgh. So I like him there. And then we agree at number 18 with Brian Breesy. I made fun of you because I thought it was mine, but really, the Lions need help on the defensive line. This will probably change in the next draft. But I like him here. But yeah, I don't know. Number 19 could be Miles Murphy out of Clemson to Tampa Bay. Another one fills a need. And then I'm going to rip through these rest of the draft. Number 20, give me Zay Flowers. So I'm thinking about this one here. I really like this one. I'm loving this. Give me Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Zay Flowers. There you go. Geno Smith just got extended, so I'm loving it here. 21, I got Broderick Jones, best tackle remaining. Chargers love him. Let's go that there. Number 22, I have Brian Branch falling all the way down here. I know you have him sliding in yours as well.
Yep. Not too far, just 2 more picks.
Yeah, so Brian Branch is a do-it-all type of defensive back. I think he fits. I'm just imagining him and Kyle Hamilton in the same defense, and
it'd be fun to watch.
Exactly. Number 23, give me Joey Porter out of Penn State. Another need. You have corner going as well. So
I have Deontay Banks from Maryland.
Yeah, this is another player that kind of just slid down draft boards, and Minnesota gets a steal at number 23. And then next pick, I have Deontay Banks going to the Jags. So we're pretty much in agreement with position, and it's just the way that they kind of shake out. 25, give me Jordan Addison out of USC for the Giants. I love him here. He's going to be that nice number 2 guy or number 2 option for Daniel Jones outside of Darren Waller.
Right.
So number 26 for the Cowboys, I have Dalton Kincaid. I don't think that they get Dalton Schultz back, so let's replace one Dalton tight end with another Dalton tight end.
Keep the Daltons in place.
27, we're in agreement with Bijan Robinson here. I don't think the Bills, now that Jamal Williams has been signed, I don't think that they make a move for running back. I think they go with the draft, and hopefully Bijan drops to them.
You got to take best player available here, too.
I agree. There is an off chance we could see Jahmyr Gibbs here too if they're really invested in getting a running back.
Yeah.
But I think Bijan Robinson, the way that this draft played out, Bijan Robinson fell to the Bills. It was a match made in heaven. 28, we agree with Anton Harrison, best tackle available. 29, give me Will McDonald. 3-4, edge rusher is gonna fit into that new New Orleans Saints scheme. And then number 30, give me Osiris Torrance. Finally, he gets drafted. And 31, give me DeJuan Jones, tackle. I don't know how much I trust Jawan Taylor on the right side. He played left side all where he was before.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a great insurance option for Patrick Mahomes. So give me DeJuan Jones.
All right. So that was both of our 1.0 mock drafts. We're going to have a couple more coming out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, free agency as well. We're going to, keep you guys updated on our Instagram of who gets signed because we still have a lot of more free agent signings to go through and for some to happen and trades. So do you have anything else to add?
I got nothing.
Got nothing? All righty.
Catching my breath after running through that mock draft.
That was a lot. But yeah, we'll have these posted on Instagram as well for you guys to see personally. But yeah. I just want to say thank you, Maranto and Emerge. Thank you, Matt Johnson, BICBP Radio Network. We'll